You are listening to High Tube Talks, the official podcast of the AYF West. I'm Haig Minasian.
And I'm Hado Bird.
And we're just a couple of Armenians
talking in the world.
A couple of Armenians talking in the world.
All right, welcome to High Tube Talks. All right, the number one Armenian podcast in the world. Today we have a very interesting guest. It is the one and only, and before I tell you, you might know him from Instagram. You might know him from Vine, R.I.P. You might know him from the stage. Your grandma might even know him, the Mr. Antic.
Thanks for having me, guys. Excited to be here.
Hell yeah, man. You were one of like the first guests that when we initially started the podcast and we're looking at different groups and industries, I'm like, if we're doing entertainment, if we're doing anything that has to do with comedy, Antic has to be the first one.
Man, I'm honored, bro. I really am.
Hell yeah,
means a lot.
No, thank you for being here. But I gotta first ask, I guess, Antic is that an ancient Armenian name? Could you tell us where this name came from?
It's funny, a lot of people think my name's Antranik, and like Antic is short for that, you know. Yeah. So people will be like, Antranik, you know. But no, it's Antic was actually supposed to be my DJ producer name, man, when I was kind of pursuing music for a while.
DJ Antic?
Antic,
or just Antic?
Kind of like how Dead Mouse is just Dead Mouse.
What does it mean?
TS. Yeah, imagine childish antics in a singular form. So like even when I was doing when I was producing music, my image was that on the stage I would be like something that's built around like what a clown is, or you know what I mean?
Entertaining sort of and like wild, like you're going with like a Little Dicky thing, but maybe like DJ style.
DJ-ish, yeah. More like a Dead Mouse has a stage presence, something to look at. But you know, music's one of my big passions. But God kind of put me in the comedy seat, and I love it.
Yeah, we're.
Yeah, I actually want to know a little bit more about before you got into comedy, before anything that you did. You're saying that you were a DJ. Was there anything else, or was it like, I'm going to be a DJ?
There just came a point in my early 20s where being a musician kind of is what kind of made me excited about life. And I wasn't sure where I was going, and I've always been kind of obsessed with the idea of pursuing something that everybody thinks is impossible to achieve. So that's kind of what I started chasing, you know, and they say if you follow your dreams, you're going to find your place. And it's funny that led me to comedy. And if you know, and it happened because of Vine. But when I opened Vine, it was to promote my music. It was not for comedy, and just accidentally happened.
You know what's funny is I feel like Armenian DJs, when my older cousin, he was into it too, and that was a very popular thing that Armenian dudes were doing. But comedy is an even more impossible thing, I feel like. You even broke a harder barrier to break,
sure,
you know?
Sure.
So good job.
Thank you.
Excellent. And I remember those Vines. Those were hilarious, but I couldn't tell if that was like just the first time I was seeing you, or if that was like actually the first time you were actually trying out some comedy out there. Huh?
That's where it first happened. Yeah,
I miss
that's where
Vine.
It first happened.
I loved Vine.
Outside of like high school class clown type of stuff, that's where the comedy first happened. You know.
And I think what was really cool about the Vines, it was almost like the first time that we saw a representation of us on like a comedic level that we understand, you know, as the youth. Because there's old Armenian comedy which like sometimes is like whatever to me.
Exactly.
But when you're seeing a Vine about Armenian moms buying stuff from Ross, you know, and then you go home you go home and you see the exact thing, it's hilarious.
Exactly.
Man.
And that's what kind of blew me away is how much like Armenians from here and France and Armenia and Russia and everybody's laughing at the same stuff. They're like, Mama no, like Mama ne. It's crazy. Like, we're all the same no matter where we are. So it kind of became a way to connect us through social media, like as in our generation for the first time.
There were YouTube videos, like some funny comedian Armenian YouTube videos and satires and jokes and stuff. But you're right, like that was one of the first times on a social media, and social media was still kind of new in a sense where there wasn't that much Twitter and Reels and Instagram. Like that was still not really a thing yet.
There was nothing.
Vine was really. That was also you were right. That was the first time we're seeing an Armenian jokes kind of getting viral on a Odara social media platform. So that was really cool.
Exactly. And then other nationalities, other cultures, kind of you know, they were tuned into. Kind of like cultural humor is very popular. Like I love Italian comedians. I love like Hispanic comedians because we have a lot of similarities. So it's interesting how it all works, you know?
Well, I was actually, I think I wanted to ask it later on, but, that humor is transferable, because in my head, I'm like, would this make sense to non-Armenians, you know, the work that, your type of comedy? But I have seen, Huntig and Arab and different groups, do the same jokes in a public Odar setting, and they love it, you know? So I think they get it, and it works.
And that's what kind of gives me hope, because when the plan is to eventually cross over to a bigger market and hopefully be like the Armenian representative of comedy in the bigger market.
So we need one.
Yeah, it would be great, man. and I'd be honored to be that person. You know, it's not easy, obviously. It's another nearly impossible thing to pursue, but that's what excites me to do it. But anytime I've had stand-up comedy shows, like the bartenders in the comedy club or in the hall aren't Armenian, and they come up to me afterwards like, I didn't understand your punchlines, but it's hilarious. Like, could I have a picture with you? I'm like, sure, bro.
Well, that means what is it at the end of the joke? Not the punchline, but the way that you say it. What do they call that in comedy? The
punchline, the one-liner.
Anyways, it means you're doing it very well. When they don't know what you're saying.
The joke is about the premise. You know what I mean? So I think like you set up the premise right, and they get a basic idea of what you're doing.
The exexecution is what I was trying to think of. The
Yeah,
execution is
yeah.
well enough to where you can say blah 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 blah, and it'll still make sense to them. So.
They know that that's supposed to be fun, and it works out.
Do you ever do shows like the comedy clubs in LA, like the Laugh Factory or the Comedy Store or anything like that?
I've done a couple places. I've done like Haha Cafe before, and I've done Flappers before. But again, those are all like Armenian comedy nights. You know what I mean? So the audience is always Armenian. The only non-Armenian audiences I've ever performed in front of were like someone who's married to an Armenian, and they bring them to the show kind of thing. And they love the show because they're like, my wife does all that stuff, bro. And like, so... But the thing is, like, I wish I could do that, but it's different for me. I specifically write stand-up for non-Armenian audiences. I just never went up there and did it yet.
Dude,
I can't wait.
I know it's hard. Okay, so I'm very much into these comedy podcasts right now. I don't know if you watch anything like Bad Friends or Tiger Belly, like Bobby Lee's stuff. There's a lot of these guys. Tom Segura has these shows. They all have, all these comedians have their podcasts.
Pete and Sebastian is really good.
They all talk about this, that like the environment, the comedy like world and scene, and they talk about all the drama and like going to the Comedy Store and all those things. And I think it's so cool and interesting, and I'm like really getting into it. But I'm hearing how like difficult and how like out to get, like, you know, it's eat or be eaten. It's pretty tough out there.
It's tough.
So you're gonna have to break yourself in. But I would love to see you out there. That'd be so cool to see you at the store or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. That's the plan, man. Hopefully it'll get to that.
Are you okay? So, but then, let's say non-Armenian comics. Like, did you grow up like really loving one or a specific guy? Or
I grew up Well, that's the funny thing. I grew up specifically on American stand-up, American comedy. My favorite sitcoms were English, you know what I mean? So
like what?
I grew up, like, Sinbad was my favorite stand-up comedian of all time. I'm not sure if you guys have seen it.
I know Sinbad, yeah.
Yeah, Sinbad, for me, like, we used to watch Sinbad as a family, man. You know, it's like we've seen all his stand-ups, and so the whole, like, family-themed comedy and cultural-themed comedy comes from Sinbad, because, like, to me, that's what stand-up is, you know what I mean? But right now, I love Sebastian Maniscalco. I grew up watching Seinfeld and Married with Children, so I didn't even grow up on Armenian shows or comedy too much. So, it's exciting.
When you see that type of comedy, it's almost like you were so easily able to like transition that same type of vibe that they have on American stand-up in an Armenian way. I think that's why it resonated with a lot of people.
Sure, because stand-up is American. Not too many things are American, but stand-up is American as hell.
Have you ever looked into whether there's a scene in Armenia at all?
There is. I have friends who do stand-up out there. You know what I mean? And it's kind of growing. Yeah. So everybody's doing like, holy shit, we could do our own show, one-person shows. So the thing, but it's different. It's very different.
I'm sure.
Because they have like comedy shows in Hayastan. Like,
it's a lot more theatrical.
They do. It's usually a lot of times they're sketch comedy. You know what I mean? Yes. But stand-ups really become a thing. But it almost feels like more like a one-man show with the stand-ups there. Like, cause kind of like Vahe Berberian does stand-up, but it's more like a monologue a lot of times. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like a theater stand-up kind of, a
little
bit more artistic performance. But Vahe's obviously paved the way for people like me, which is great.
Well, I was going to ask if that was one of the people you grew up watching or not really.
Vahe's the first Armenian stand-up comedian I've ever seen. I was blown away. Like, oh my God, we can do this too? Jesus Christ, hell yes. I thought it was really cool.
I mean, I think he's the only one at that time, right? I mean, I can't think of other ones.
There's Pierre Shamasyan,
Okay, so
there are quite a few. Not quite a few, but there's a few that stand out.
But I will say I consider you our generation's vibe.
Thank you.
I'm just saying.
Thank you, bro.
Just
Thank you. Appreciate
just need a little bit more hair, but
or hair.
And exactly.
So something with me with Vahe was just like, I thought a lot of the stuff that he said was funny, but honestly, some of the things like I just didn't get, only because like my household was very Hayastansi.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until I got older where I even like met groups of Berutsis or even different Barskadans and everybody.
Sure.
How were you able to kind of do everybody's accent almost perfectly and their mannerisms and everything? Like, what was it, the scene, or how was that?
Well, to be honest with you, like, my mom was born in Halep. My mom was born in Halep. 3 of my 4 grandparents spoke the Western Armenian dialect. So it's in my, yeah, basically.
Yeah, we just did an episode on that, by the way.
So you know, maman Surya ծնվել, բայց Հայաստանը մեծացել. But like I said, 3 of my 4 grandparents spoke the Western Armenian dialect. Like, I've never heard them say a Hayastansi word in my life.
Interesting.
So it's in my family. I grew up hearing it, and then obviously let's not forget that I grew up in Pasadena, which is like
half maybe. Who knows? I don't know.
There's a lot of Beta ties in Pasadena, and a lot of my close friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was my guess. Is like he probably grew up with all the different friend groups, and you heard it all.
Not enough Barska though. I don't know. And I'm taking applications for friendship. I want to learn a lot.
No, I guess they're not in Pasadena.
Yeah, you gotta go to the Valley for that one.
But you know, exactly. But it's cool. You know, like I get Eastern and Western speaking crowds at the shows, and it's always exciting. I'm always curious, like who's gonna show up more, and you know.
I mean, that is like you're saying before about like bringing everyone together. That is, it's one of those things where you can't unify everybody here when we have a hard time doing that. But I mean, I'm curious. Did you ever? I don't know if one group over the other, but could you tell us about a time you got some backlash? Maybe like, did you ever get hate from someone for making fun of something, or everyone's been pretty chill?
Everyone's been pretty chill,
That's
man.
Crazy.
The only complaints I've got is you don't do enough Beiruti stuff, or like,
we want more
Barska High stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Make fun of us more, come on.
Yeah.
No Will Smith, no.
You know, it's not
no tackle on stage.
You know, it's not what you say; it's how you say it, man. And I think when people just genuinely realize that I genuinely love Armenians and love being Armenian,
right?
It's purely out of passion and love. So you know, you could talk smack about someone if you're Armenian. I'm Armenian. I speak both dialects,
right?
And you know, I'm never really stepping on anyone's toes. It's just pure passion, you know.
But there was people on Instagram that would do like almost like borderline racist Armenian comedy, where they're like in Spartsivkas and like papazeling and like hollering at chicks and stuff, and it's like, dude, nobody doing that.
I don't know.
It's cheap.
It's cheap.
It's cheap. Yeah.
You know, I've tried to steer away from that as much as possible, but then there's just some really funny stuff sometimes. So like, I think if you do it tasteful, but there's just so much humor linked to being Armenian. It's like I feel like when I'm out of content, that's easily okay. See, this will work. Put like the hairline like this and the red, blue, orange Adidas and do something and hold a cigarette. Boom, comedy.
I don't know, that style it grew on me. I love it, but.
We've got such a strong sense of like as Armenians, our sense of humor is ridiculously strong, man. You know what I mean? There's so much to dig into. Like I've grew up with all kinds of different nationalities, and you never see like a group of any other cultured men like go outside just to tell jokes. Like grown men, bro. Like you know, so it's pretty crazy. We got a strong sense of humor. I'd love to share it with the rest of the world.
Well, especially when we drink.
Well, yeah. Well, but I feel like in private spaces or between friends, 100%. But I feel like in public spaces, the Armenian community has always felt so serious, you know, because of all the things that we go through. So I have a sense that like whenever you're like when we see it now in front of us in a public way, like it's almost a relief to be able to laugh at everything. Like it's a off our shoulders a little bit of weight off our shoulders. It's nice.
I feel like that comes in with like being the minority somewhere, you know what I mean? Like for reputation, and I don't know. I guess we do act a certain way in public, but I've always been amazed at the fact that, you know, your neighbors love your family for sure. If you're Armenian, if you have non-Armenian neighbors, they love your family. Yeah, because no one else is bringing them like a potluck dinner when you have a barbecue. You know, no one's doing this stuff.
We overthink it.
No, they love us, bro.
Yeah, they do.
Like I've seen things online where like someone posted something where like an Armenian person was caught doing something, and then all the comments were like, hell no, I got Armenian friends. I love my Armenian homies. Like, that's really, like, it's refreshing.
No, Antic, I totally agree. And it's one of those, like, you talk to people and you mention Armenian, and for them, it's someone that they know. It's not like a place and, like, the stereotypes of, like, oh, in France, wine and baguettes. They think of a person, you know, and that's why it's always, like my mom would say, you know, you're the ambassador to your nation, you're representing.
Exactly.
Whoever you are is what they're going to associate Armenians with. And I'm very proud of our people because wherever we go in the world, you know, we've done our best to be the best. And, and I've seen that, too. I've seen, like, us have a really good reputation in most places. It's really just Turkey and Azerbaijan.
Well, you know what's important, too, is every Armenian, right, when they meet someone who's not Armenian, what's going to be one of the first things they say? I'm Armenian.
I'm Armenian.
Yeah.
Every time. I have a flag in my office, and every time a client comes in, they see the flag, they're going to tell me their Armenian friend story.
Yeah, for
sure.
Immediately, it's
I had
going
a
to be...
friend.
And it's always so personal, right? Someone they had a class with, or like a coworker or something. Yeah, are you Armenian? Man, I know this guy from Glendale named Harut. You know him? I'm like, well, there's a million Haruts.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
that's Jose for us. Harut
Yeah,
is basically like saying, you know Jose?
But then I'm like, wait, what's the last name though? Maybe I do know him though.
I don't know, but it ends with a yan.
Yeah. Same thing. And sometimes, like, I don't know, they'll know a famous one, or they'll know someone or when we're able to tell them, like, or they'll ask, like, oh, do you know Kim Kardashian or Serge or whatever,
Yeah,
Tankan? But sometimes we're like, actually, yeah, we kind of do, because the community is so small. We all know each other. Like, it's one
Right.
degree off,
Yeah,
easy,
yeah.
you
Yeah,
know?
for sure.
Maybe not the Kardashian one.
No.
But Serge, for sure.
Dude, my cousins, bro.
Your cousins, what? They knew...
We came off the same boat. And I don't know if I, like, this is, I want to talk about this. It's not about me. We're about here for Antic. But no, my family came off the same boat. All the grandparents knew each other and everything, and I think I got cousins that are married to their cousins. So I would say they would say that jokingly, and I'd be like, "Well," as like a high school kid,
Yeah.
and they wouldn't believe it. But I could show the paperwork. We were on the same boat. We all knew each other.
Jotaport pochvela.
Barely.
I think there's a rule like that. Like there has
there
to be
is.
7. Yeah.
We're utobort. It's fair game, bro.
Oh, terrorbortnes. That's it.
We're chill. It's chill. Off the record, just recently I've been talking about this Yotobort thing a lot. Anyways, that's funny you brought that up.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was talking about Yotobort with someone.
I can't believe it's true. I can't believe there is a such thing. Like the families sit and count.
I don't know if it's from the Bible or something. So basically, Yotobort is 7 families or whatever, 7 people away in order for you to marry them. Like it's about like marrying cousins and stuff.
Oh.
So like seven. What it bort in English is belly button, whatever.
buttons.
Someone has to be 7 belly buttons away for you to be able to marry them. That's what Yotobort is.
So I gotta, every time I meet a chick, ask for like a credit report.
Yeah, it's like show me the amount of belly buttons. Like line them up. Let's see it.
That's your USB board.
Yeah, USB board. I just love that it rhymes. Yotobort. So
Yeah,
we can
guys.
How'd you like the LA Galaxy game?
was good.
The Armenian night. Got the little scarves and everything.
This is my first time at like a pro soccer game, actually, man.
Was it
cool.
crazy seeing the crowd that just banging the drums the whole
Dude,
time?
they didn't stop.
They not
didn't
at all.
stop. Im Tolkedes Choratsaviran bro. Like they don't get tired.
Yeah,
It's
man.
crazy.
Every game.
Dude, I didn't know there's still diehard soccer fans, like LA team soccer fans like that. Like call me crazy or
Two of them.
stupid. But
Yeah, we have
There's
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Galaxy
What's going
and
on,
FC,
bro? Like,
bro.
wait, it's already that big of a deal. There's like they say they're like it's like the Lakers and the Clippers of LA, like soccer.
they want to be like Europe, and so they're diehard. And like I support it. I love soccer, but I mean they'll never be like Europe. I don't know.
But the thing is like, so you have Galaxy and you have FC. Now, I'm always going to be on Galaxy side only because, you know, Harut Karapetyan.
Karapetyan, yeah.
So my his son, my sister's marrying him. So we're
No
kind of
way.
like,
now
yeah.
he's family. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
now he's family.
And you
I don't-
happen to be a Galaxy fan,
yeah.
huh?
So, yeah, exactly. No, it's great. I love going with him. Like, when
Yeah,
I go
yeah,
with him,
for
I
sure.
feel like a VIP.
Oh, yeah, you are.
You didn't
Yeah.
come to the Galaxy night?
I did,
Oh,
yeah.
How'd you like it?
I loved it, man. I had my Armenia hat. I had a jacket.
Were you there like like at the little festival that happened, like at the tailgate?
Yeah, I showed up a little later than I think there was like Dave's Hot Chicken was there and everything. I think
There was a lot going on.
Yeah.
They donated like 200 sliders so we could, raise
wow.
funds with them. It was pretty cool, man.
Yeah,
A lot
I
of
didn't get
people
there.
came together.
I was there when he was doing like when Hada was there doing the autographs and stuff in the little
Gotcha.
booths and everything. So I was over there at that time, but I didn't see any of the stuff that they did
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, it was pretty
It
cool.
was
Were
like a
you
mini Armenian festival.
It's basically the tailgate that would happen before the show,
Mm-hmm.
but we kind of like took it and made it something more exciting, raised funds with it for, support our heroes.
I was gonna ask, were you involved in like the organizing of the event or just that festival part? They call you up and like, hey, help.
I was. There's a gentleman there named Daniel who works at the LA Galaxy. Really cool Armenian kid. Really
Yeah.
cool. And
He kinda made this
reached
thing
out to me
happen.
because he
Yeah.
wanted me to be a part of this, see if I could do, I don't know, stand-up or host or something. I just told him it's not the place for stand-up, you know what I mean?
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah, I wish I could, but it's not the place for stand-up, but I love your idea, and I was like, if you need help with anything, let me know. So
Yeah.
that's how it happened. We just kept in touch. I ended up helping, organizing, reaching out to people for him, and kind of like putting things together. It was cool.
No good stuff. I didn't get to make it.
I love organizing, any chance to organize something like that, it was cool, man.
Yeah, and any Armenian Heritage Night, I don't care what sport it is, I'm usually over there, repping hard. And then, if you do anything like that, again, I think it was a great idea for the Galaxy game. And if you can even try doing it for other nights, because I know Clippers do an Armenian
Clippers
Heritage.
do it, LA Kings do it.
No
But
Lakers, huh?
No, but they don't. They have no seats left.
Yeah, but they're I feel like most LA Armenians are Lakers fans. No, I don't know.
Yeah, but I feel like the main purpose of the whole
is to get more
heritage
fans.
is
Yeah.
to get more fans, get more people, and
Yeah, that's always why it's in the middle of like January and some random
preseason,
game.
whatever.
But I love what happened here because we took like the model of what a Armenian Heritage Night is, and we made it like a charitable cause. You know what I mean? So like all the vendors that were on board, they all agreed to, donate 50% of everything.
Oh wow!
To support our heroes, and support our heroes is Sebu Simonian's dad's nonprofit organization. So so Sebu then got involved, and we got Patil's dance studio involved, which my niece is one of the dancers. It was cool, man. It all came together. Got all my Pasadena peoples involved. It was good, yeah.
Yeah, man. I saw your whole team there. Well, I don't know if the whole team was there, but there was that tall guy with the tall bald guy with the beard.
Yeah, Levon. Yeah,
that's right.
Them show guys came through too. Yeah, and they're big on soccer. Like Dem Kdavo's son plays soccer, so yeah.
Speaking of the Dem show, I mean, that was when you guys were doing those like group videos and everything. I thought it was, that was top line, comedy right there.
For sure.
What's the status of it now?
I think COVID kind of threw everything off, but we're all still really good friends, and like anytime we're sitting around a table together, it's comedy and it's ideas. Oh, we could do a sketch, a video, whatever. So I'm not sure when we're going to come together for a show, but we all definitely want to.
And you guys were doing shows in Armenia?
As a Dem show, as long as I've been with Dem show, they've never done a show in Armenia, but I do stand-ups in Armenia. But Dem show has usually the shows here. And a lot of times it's at the Saxon Auditorium in Pasadena, the PCC Auditorium, or
The crazy thing is sometimes I catch my mom or my grandma watching the Armenian channel, and then randomly I'll see like a commercial with you in it or some of the other guys in there, and I'm just like, man, if like my grandma actually like was comprehending the commercials and everything like that, she might generally know like Antic. Like if she saw your face, she might generally know, and that to me is just the number one indication that you're getting bigger in whatever it is you're doing. Once the grandma knows,
Once the grandma knows, yeah.
Like my grandma knows Shaq. What does that tell you? Shaq is the most famous guy in the world. You know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's cool, man. Well, the Armenian channels definitely reach out to like a different audience. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure. I don't know if your grandma uses social media, but her platform would be TV, kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's still active. The Armenian channels are getting really good, man. Like, they're getting really good. Stepped up their game. Production value is much better.
Well, right now, where do you think your focus is going to go in terms of, like, the medium for the most part? Are you YouTube or something new? You're on TikTok, I know, too.
Yeah, I'm on TikTok. Instagram's my main, that's my main squeeze, if you will. But the plan is just stand-up is my thing, man. Stand-up, like, that's where, that's how I make a living. That's what pumps me and excites me the most.
Well, I was wondering, like, a lot of times Armenians, when they're starting up, like, they're doing a hustle on the side as well. Like, in the beginning, were you doing other jobs and stand-up on the side?
I've done everything, bro. I've done everything from one of those headsets at Old Navy to I've done construction. I worked at a signs and banners place. I've done just about anything you could think of, man. Like, throughout my entire 20s, I was just trying to find my place. And then the comedy blew up when I was about 26 going on to 27.
But which point, like right when you started, were you like, I'm not doing any of this other, crap, and I'm going to just focus on this? Or was it like, let's see if this is going to be a thing or not? When did you know, like, I'm going to commit?
2019, I realized I could make a living doing this. But I started...
It's not that long ago.
It's not.
Yeah.
Well, I was doing it for I started stand-up at late 2016, 2017. Yeah. But I built up to the level where, like, now I'm doing multiple new shows here. Then they're calling me from out of town. And so if I could have 1-2 shows a month outside of LA and at least 3-4 shows a year here, for example, and like a new show every 2 years, I can make a living.
Yeah.
I get sponsors. I sell merchandise. So
you could do it.
It was adding up. And in 2019, I felt that.
Finally.
And people told me I could never make a living doing Armenian comedy and Armenian comedy alone. But the people who were saying that weren't a part of the social media era.
Right.
They were not a part of this.
And that's what I was about to say is I think the social media thing changed it where I think like just based on like Azarto Media's following, like we have 100K, like maybe not a max, but potential there, like of a potential market that can follow you on a social media platform just from the Armenian circles in general. So that's enough to do it. Do what you got to do. So social media has helped, and I would love for you to branch out and do every sort of comedy, but you could probably sustain. Vahe Beberian did it, right? Like
Vahe did it, but Vahe also has
rights and painting and
books,
everything.
So
yeah.
like, I have certain things I do on the side too. With,
but you can do that. Too.
I can do that sort of stuff too. Yeah. Absolutely. If I could just stay an Armenian comedian for the rest of my life and be comfortable, I'm okay with that. I'm not dying to become more famous, or what I'm saying. I'm okay with being hayazgi urachatsnoch. If that's my purpose, I'll take it. It's an honor.
But we should tell the Odars about how cool we are too. Don't worry, they need to know.
I really want to. I want to try stand up. It's just crazy to me.
I feel like the hard part too is just kind of like starting it and doing it or whatever. Or maybe you need to know. Like, do you have any, let's say, Odars comic buddies that they need to get you in and like then give you that like opening shot, that kind of thing. Networking. It's all networking.
It's all networking for sure. But in my head, it's kind of like it's a big blurry area because the people who come to my shows are already fans of my comedy.
Yeah,
they're there to see me. They're there to hear what happened to me in the last year through my stand-up stories. So like diving into a room of people who have no idea who I am, I'm just another John Doe to them. I'm really curious how they react, and I'm more curious how I'll react because I go up there knowing that these are my people. Like these are the people
a little bit
who
more
are writing to me and loving me
right.
and telling me to do more comedy. And like these are people telling me that I've been cheering them up for 5-6 years. So it's so different. But I'm really excited to give it a try.
But you've gone in front of crowds. I feel like that's the hard part. Even though it's like it is your comfortable crowd, let's say. But for a lot of these like first starting Odar stand-ups, it's the first time going up into a crowd. So I feel like you have a leg up anyway.
What was the reaction from, like, I'm sure your friends kind of already knew the type of guy you were. Mm-hmm. Let's say your family, for example. They see you working all these different jobs. And then, obviously, for Armenians, especially for any immigrant, like first-generation people, but honestly, Armenians, it's almost like, you're not going to be a lawyer, doctor. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
I'm on the Vine, Mom. Don't worry. I'm going to make you one of me.
It was kind of unreal for my folks at first, for those people close to me. But I think since they see the results on their phones too, and like, whoa, we just saw such and such posted you, and such, and they're like, holy shit, I think you're onto something. You are funny.
Yeah.
So
once their friends start talking about you, or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like if it's just incubated, it's whatever. But I was at the store and they mentioned that you did this thing, then they start appreciating it. But I just keep thinking about how you and your family, like probably like immigrant family, are watching Sinbad together and like laughing at it. I think that's hilarious. Of
laughter, bro. I've even written to Sinbad like, bro, you're one of the reasons. Like I love stand up, and let me do your opening act one time.
Well, actually, we have Sinbad right here. Hey, man, Sinbad. That's awesome. But did you have a plan? Like, were they like you're gonna be this or that, or what? How about before the DJ music stuff? Were you like, I'm gonna go into something more serious? Or
I came out of high school wanting to be a filmmaker. Yeah. So I could. I could video. I've been a videographer. I'm an editor. I could do graphic design. I could sing. I could write music. I could do a lot of things, bro. And that come naturally to me. But
and it complemented all this work.
It did. I'll put it exactly. It did. But it's also confusing because I know I'm going to be in something that's around creativity and entertainment, but I just need to find exactly what it is and dedicate my soul to this. So finding that was a little complicated. It was tricky and depressing at times.
Yeah, but now you like touched on everything and you're well-rounded now. And you know what's funny is I found this out years later, but there was an AYF video that they say, you know who made this video? It was Antic. It's the one with the loading bar,
Revolution in progress.
Yes, and dude, for that time, it was like the coolest video for like, I was like, oh, AYF is cool.
I think they're still using it for recruiting purposes.
Because they hadn't made anything since. And it's like watching Star Wars years later where you're like, when you watch it the first time it was dope, but looking back you're like, okay, compared to what there is now, it's whatever. But for back then, it still is. It was pretty cool. It was a very good video. Good job.
Thank you. Yeah. I think YouTube was like pretty new. Like the paint was still wet in YouTube at that time. You know what I mean? So it was cool. We got a lot of cool work done.
Video editing, all that stuff was. I think, and like even with the social media, Vine, like because you jumped on a like new platform as it was growing, that usually is what it takes for, I don't know, that little bit of like chance and luck for it to really work out, and
trying things is easier with the modern day technology. You get to try. I might have never known that I'm like musically inclined if like my computer didn't come with GarageBand.
Right.
I might have never known that, bro. You know what I mean? I might have never known like I can edit something until like I put like WWE at that time it was WWF videos, and I used to put like The Rock's Rock Bottom and then Stone Cold. I used to put them all and then play like music on time. I was like, I can edit, bro. That's sick. And then I started. At one point, I was doing editing wedding videos, like the cheesy love stories, like on the beach, slow motion, like like I did all that stuff.
I've seen enough movies.
I did everything, bro.
Well, did you play any instruments or no? When you were
I played the
growing up?
guitar. My dad taught me how to play the guitar when I was like in my early teens.
Is there any like so? Do you get this artsy creativity from anyone in your family? Is there someone like this?
Bro, yeah, dude,
The whole family.
my mom can sing. She's never pursued it, but she can sing. My dad plays the guitar. He could draw. He could design. He like
It was in the blood.
yeah, and like if you like sat through like a family dinner with like my folks, my cousins, my sister, like, everyone's hilarious too. It's like my family's funny, but it's hilarious.
That's usually what it is, yo.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
And then what's cool too is like, and we kind of talked about it earlier about how, you know, with Armenians, the entertainment industry is not an area they're pursuing. So even if like your mom's super talented at singing, she's not even going to think twice about pursuing anything in that realm.
Right.
But when people see you and other artists who are coming up right now, especially in your case, if there's an Armenian kid right now who's watching your videos and he's already thinking, he's not thinking in the way that we all used to think, where it was like, okay, I can't, my parents are going to accept this.
Yeah.
Now there's a person in place to use them.
An example.
Yeah? An example, saying like,
Sure.
man, look what he's doing. And then that's going to inspire a whole nother generation of Armenian kids to kind of pursue these fields.
For sure. And that's exactly how it is. Because like usually, like if like in Armenia, for example, it's very likely you're a known singer if your dad was, or your mom was, or your grandpa was. Sibani, Tornikna,
whatever.
You know, so we all have a chance now.
No, I mean I'm seeing a lot more people, a lot more Armenians TikToking, and like there are more attempts at doing what you do amateurly. Okay, they're all great, but with time it'll happen, and I'm sure you played a part, just like Vahe played a part with you. You know,
Sure, for sure.
Have you ever thought about collabing with Vahe, or you guys ever talk regularly?
We talked. We had an Instagram live during the pandemic where I had him on for a coffee with Antic session, and then I pitched him an idea that I've had for a long time. I was like, yo, when everything comes back to normal, we should talk about like a 2 generations, 1 stage, like a Antic versus Vahe.
I think it'd be pretty
stand
good.
up. Not like we're not versing each other, but like both performing the same night.
Yeah, but a roast would be really funny though.
Oh no, I don't. He doesn't want to do that with me.
No, I'm sure. I know, but it'd be pretty good.
Like I've always thought he's like the Armenian Snoop Dogg. You know,
He is. He's a godfather,
he is
whatever.
Our Snoop Dogg,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, because when you'll see him on the street like randomly, like you're just turning a left, and you just see him waiting at the light or something.
He's a really good guy, man. He's a sweet guy. Very supportive. Always, pumps you up.
Oh yeah.
Very welcoming.
Was there any Armenian entertainers at any point that reached out to you, whether it be somebody you knew before or somebody after, like just met you?
That's how Demk happened. Like after the reason I got onto Dim because like one of their guys kind of discovered me through like the Vines and stuff like that, and like I used to watch Dem when I was in high school. They're a little bit older than me, so they were recently had just gotten back together and then kind of like started working with them and got on the team. A little bit of a complicated long story, but ended up being one of the team members, and now they're some of my closest friends.
You ever watch those old Armenian sketch shows like Yeresunerku Atam and Vitamin Club and stuff like that?
You know what's funny, bro? Like all those guys are my friends now, but I never watched any of their shows. I never watched any of it, bro. I just didn't. I grew up watching this stuff, so if I've seen anything, it's been like something popular that was going around or whatnot, but I watched Heiko Mako. Heiko Mako, I always thought Mako was hilarious, bro. So I would we got all like the tapes, the DVDs or whatever. So I thought was hysterical at the time. But like Yarasunyerku, I've never sat through a single Yarasunyerku. And the guy like Vahag, which was like one of the hosts and like writers, I remember one time he came introduced himself to me and stuff, and then my other friends like, "This shit over." I'm like, "Oh, over." It's like, why didn't I hear I was like, dude, I don't know, bro. No offense. I don't mean any disrespect by that, but for me, it was about like Jim Carrey and
Yeah.
like these were my idols. You know what I mean?
Were these was Demk and these guys mostly Eastern Armenian humor, or like was it mostly
Eastern?
Because I didn't grow up watching these guys that much. I did watch the Harut cartoons and stuff. Those were hilarious. And I remember there was one Barsky comedian guy who was like also doing I think it was on Facebook videos where he was also making the Armenian mom kind of jokes. I forgot his name.
Yeah.
So I saw a few things, but I think I was out of tune with those guys because of I was Western Armenian speaking growing up. Let's say right. So I'm on. I guess if I wouldn't know him if I saw him on the street.
Right,
unfortunately.
right.
But I would know you.
But I mean, yeah, like.
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir. Is it the beard?
Yeah, it's the head though.
Yeah, I feel like there isn't too many comedians like serving to the Western Armenian dialect, bro. And like
we know Vahe though, but I feel like maybe even Eastern Armenians know Vahe like how they know Harut. You know,
sure,
they're so distinct.
And who said Smazirov Marta?
I love it. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're talking about music, or obviously you're like a musically inclined guy. As far as Armenian artists go, is there someone that just hits every time you listen to them?
Oh man, like it's the legends for me. You know what I mean? It's the Haruts and the Rubens, Artur Mescan. Artur Mescan is one of my musical gods, bro. Like there will never be another Artur Mescan ever again. So that's what I was kind of brought up with. You know, like Paul Baghdadian, Harut, Ruben, and Artur Mescan come to mind as like the
Godfathers, whatever you want to call it.
The Mount Rushmore would be. I think that would be the four.
Interesting. I don't think a lot of people will say Arthur. I mean, he's great. He's great. I don't think too many people know him. Maybe the one song,
don't know. You're right.
Like Ures Astavats, like that's a very popular one. But outside of that, I really don't think there's too many people that know him. Yeah, like Harut is Mount Rushmore, Michael Jackson of Armenian music.
He's about 4 generations in entertaining Armenians. You know what I mean? But let me tell you, man, Harut's got that it factor, you know? So, like, even if you were, like, you could have been Chinese and Harut could have walked into, like, Panda Inn and you would know this guy's a star or something very special. He's got that. Like, you know.
Have you seen him on Adult Swim?
Yes, I have seen that. I still need an explanation.
I don't know how that I would. If we ever had him on this show, that's the first question I'm asking.
I think that one was about 5 zeros, maybe. Probably.
I still need an explanation for that, but it's fun to watch. It tells you he's a fun guy. Harut's got an insane sense of humor, man. Insane sense of humor.
I never got to hang out with him.
I got to hang out with him a few times. I got to hang out with him in Laval. There was an Armenian festival of Laval, and then he was performing the night after me, so I was there obviously for his entire concert, and then we were in the same cab going back to the airport, and like. Airport. Dude, I swear to God, it was like a red-eye ride from the hotel to the airport and back to LAX. Dude, he spent the whole time in that cab. He spent the whole time telling the driver about Armenians, showing him Armenian concerts, teaching him about the Armenian genocide, showing him performance he did about the Harut Amyak.
That's a good get right there.
Yeah,
good stuff.
He spent the whole ride talking about Armenians and educating someone about Armenia and the genocide and who he is, what he does. Dude, it was incredible. That's one of my craziest memories of Harut.
That adds to the legend right there. I mean, that's just even better knowing that Harut's out there representing us.
Yeah, for sure.
Any of these guys that, let's say, you looked up to and you met them for the first time, and they might have known you, like, was that cool? Did you ever have an experience like that?
Very cool.
You're like, you know me? You know?
Yeah, it's very cool, man. You know, that's happened a few times.
And now you're friends with them, I'm sure, most of them, you know.
Yeah, we are. We are. Like, we're kind of, you know, the whole, like, Armenian, especially comedians, we kind of stick together. Because, like, if you're a comedian, bro, your brain works a certain way, and you kind of need the freedom to say anything around people. And then when you find yourself comedian friends who also have no filter, like, you have to see them at least once a week.
It's your community,
I have things to say, bro. You know, so, yeah, it happened quite a few times, man. It felt good. It inspires me, man.
No, it's cool.
I love meeting fans just as much, bro. Fans inspire me.
I mean,
like, you want a picture with me?
Well, I was gonna say, is like, how is it like walking around here? I mean, you live in Pasadena. I don't know if you want. But the grass is greener. But in Glendale or even Pasadena, when you walk around, I mean, you're probably getting stopped the whole time. No,
not as much as Glendale.
Yeah,
not as much as
Glendale a bunch, right? Or
Glendale. I mean, the percentage is much higher in Americana than in Carl Jr.
Yeah. But, if you're ever feeling down about yourself, just go walk around Glendale a little bit, and you'll feel, you know, they'll hype you up. Huh?
Dude, I remember when the videos were just blowing up, and it's still unreal to me. I'm like, is this really happening, bro? Because like for years I've been trying to promote music. Well, no one cares. Well, should come on. Suddenly people are sharing stuff. I'm like, guys, it's working. And me and a few friends, as a joke. We were like, let's go do a fame test. Let's walk through Glendale. Let's see if anyone recognizes it. I was like, oh, that's cool. Let's try it. but it was funny. And it worked. There was one guy who's like, internet for Banidanum.
Well, I think because you're like a trailblazer and there was like a vacuum there, it was also just a great opportunity on top of it. So, maybe it was an accident, but it worked out. And I think we really needed it, man. I mean, again, like I was getting at is I know we have a good sense of humor, but maybe it's just recent times or in general, but it's always been so serious, my upbringing.
Yeah.
You don't speak Armenian, the Turks are winning. Like there's always that in my household. Sure. And so it was a relief. And I also think like it's healthy for us to learn to laugh at ourselves a little bit, and I think you guys help out a lot with that.
For sure.
Because it comes from a place of love. It's not
Absolutely.
coming from a place of like.
It really does, man. It really does that, and I think people feel that. You know what I mean? I think people feel that, and I like, even though my stand-up comedy show is about Armenian, I'm picking fun at myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm like, you Armenians do this. It's about me and my family, and people are like, oh my God, but one thing I really like strive for is I want, and my show's like all ages, man. So like, Tatikits, Michev Tornik, they come to my show, they sit, they enjoy, they have like a good old-fashioned Armenian good time, and then they leave feeling proud to be Armenian. You know what I mean? So instead of like, it's Lavatskar, Azgin, Banadets, there's no, I don't talk about politics. I don't watch comedy for that. You know what I mean? I watch comedy to get away from all that stuff. So we need it, bro, and it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling.
No, I agree.
Being able to provide that getaway for people, because it's not easy being an Armenian.
It isn't enough. No, I just think the reflection, like being able to like just be looking at ourselves in a mirror in a way through your comedy is it's a healthier and nicer way to do it, and it gets us thinking, and it also makes us not so, I don't know, embarrassed about things. We can actually be like, that embarrassing thing my grandma does is actually really funny and cool,
funny, and everybody's grandma does it.
And everyone, you don't have to feel that. And then like our friends will like love it too. They'll think it's like they'll think it's funny, and they'll also think it's like cute and everything. And then I don't know. I think we live in a very interesting time where being like ethnic or being from another place, having a cool culture is in Verchabes.
For sure.
So that's why, like, if anything, like your comedy would do a lot better now than maybe when Vaya was here in the 60s, 70s.
Yeah,
Who knows?
Sure.
A crowd of white people then would be like, this isn't that funny. We don't get it. But I think the rest of America has been exposed enough to like communities like ours that they would even get it, even if they didn't grow up with an Armenian family nearby.
Yeah. You make a good point, man. For sure.
So, Antic, tell me, when was the last time you went to Hayastan in like a long period of time, not like a couple weeks?
You were there during the war.
I was there during the war. I got there a week before it started.
You just so happened to be there, I remember.
I got there a week before, man.
Wow.
It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
literally 1 week before, and then I was gonna be there for 5 weeks, 6 weeks, and then I extended. I didn't want to leave. It was crazy, man. You could imagine what that was like, man.
Did it happen all at once, like a certain kind of vibe shift, or was it like leading up to it?
There was a vibe shift. There was a vibe shift, but like the people I was with were like, "Was Michel Bordurin Baner Linuma?"
Yeah, is it the real thing or not?
What I'm seeing on my phone is this is not Borduri conflict. This is something
thing.
serious. And then
how do you keep your like spirits up in those times, man? I mean, I feel like at least definitely during the war, it's tough where you're just like, I can't.
Yeah.
But do you have like
there was this feeling of I need to be involved in something, do something.
Keep yourself busy or go crazy.
God put me here to help something, pick up a box, take it over
Whatever
there.
it is.
Bro, like the social media platform was very helpful out there in the city, man. Like,
I saw you doing that
We
stuff.
were at the Camera in Tatron, and just people bringing, taking. What do they need? You announce it, they bring it. And it was crazy, bro. It was insane. It was a crazy time.
It is, and it still is, and but during it is kind of different. Now I'd say like we could definitely use some Antic comedy, and even though it's kind of hard to maybe hone in on what's funny about life these days, but I'm saying is like we could use it, and thank you for continuing and raising our spirits and stuff,
For sure, man.
So, I mean, before that though, were you? How often would you go to Hayastan?
I've been going to Armenia consistently since 2017. It's like I'll go for 3 months. I'll go for a month and a half. I love Armenia, man. I love Armenia.
Full of characters, right?
Full of character. A lot of content there. A lot of material there. But I always tell people like I just Zariat Capital, which is like that's where I go charge up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because as Armenians, when we go to Hayastan, it's almost like in your natural state. There's a very different feeling. Your shoulders almost like
you're the majority. How often do you feel that somewhere when you're walking? Like you're the majority. You're in your spot.
I tell people Hayastan's like our Wakanda. You know?
No, I feel good there. I feel like myself there. Like my personality makes more sense there. You know what I mean? I feel like I fit in personality-wise a lot more than people would think I would.
In Hayastan.
I was born in Yerevan, man. Like those are my dad's stomping grounds, my grandpa's. You know what I mean? So I feel like I'm walking through my family and my people's history, just walking down the street in Armenia. I love the nature in Armenia. I love sightseeing in Armenia, but I spend most of my days in Yerevan, like
that's cool.
walking places. I love.
You never walk in California, but in Armenia, like 30-40 minute walk, easy. Like of course I'm gonna do it.
No matter what I'm doing, I'd rather be walking in Yerevan.
Yeah, it makes
it's the best.
But I'll say like a lot of Western Armenians, like let's say me, I'm Gyumretsi too on my dad's side, that the Kardashian side, they're all Gyumretsis, but they left Gyumri like 115 years ago, so it's been a minute. But so my Western Armenian side, we go there and we do have a little bit of this like this kind of doesn't feel like what I thought it'd be. Whatever. I lived there for a year, so now I love it. It's like home now. You know, I
lived there for a year.
I lived in Yerevan for birthright Armenia. I stayed a little longer.
Oh, nice.
So I get it now, and I live it. And like at the end, I came back speaking out of Madavela Hayat and like a Pama. So I get it, but like I could see that when you guys are going there, the sounds and the smells and the foods you eat, like like this makes sense as to why my dad and my mom are like this or they eat this or that.
I make most sense in Armenia. I realize, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially at like a restaurant, the way it's set up in Hayastan with like an Armenian table with the drinks, the food.
Like I need it for my personality too, because like I'm mostly an introvert. And in Armenia, in Yerevan, you can't be an introvert, bro. You got to step up. If you want like I'm like, I can't do that here. You know, I wait, they'll come right now. We'll tell them what we need. But Armenian, you got to raise your voice. If you hop in the taxi and you're kind of quiet, then he might like, who is this? Who is this guy? He doesn't talk, so it brings out that more like aggressive character out of me. Not to shut down on my you know what I mean? But you know how like in New York, like people are a little bit rude, like it's just how it is in the city. It's kind of like that, and like I need that real. Sometimes. So like I come back and I'm like, "What's up, guys? What's up, man?"
California ain't like that at all. We're very nice here, but like in a fake way. But I mean, when you're in those taxis though, or like you're at a restaurant, I mean, are people like? Like it's Antic. Do they recognize?
I got a fan base out there for sure, man. Like I've had multiple sold out shows there, but it's most exciting during the summer when there's tourists from all over the place.
That's cool,
dude. It gets nuts. Like my show in Yerevan was like 60% Beirutsis, bro.
Wow.
Yeah, they love you.
Yeah.
Dude, because you do the accent well enough to where I almost like would guess like I couldn't tell for like the first years. You know, I was like I can't tell if he's one or the other because he does both so well.
Yeah.
But then it makes sense that you do have the Western Armenian roots. You know, where you heard it in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm very much Hayastansi. You know?
No.
I've been called a Beirutsi washed Hayastansi.
Well, dude, I'm telling you, we did an episode on Akhbars last week, or like a few weeks ago. It just came out last week, though, and the more like Hayastansis I meet, a lot of them have these roots, you know, this in between of two worlds thing.
Yeah.
Which is I'm jealous of. You guys kind of get a little bit of both.
Yeah, like my both my grandparents on my dad's side both knew Turkish, and so does my dad. My dad speaks every dialect, but the way he was born in Hayastan and Gyumri, and just the way he grew up was like extremely Hayastansi. But the guy, his actual like lineage is all from like Haleb and different places like that. So it's pretty crazy the way it just changes up as the generations go. Especially Armenians, we're dating all types of different
Yeah, dude. Like even over here, I remember in the 90s, like Hayastansis versus Beirutsi conflicts, and like we were so different in the 90s. You know what I mean? But like my generation, like our generation, you almost, I had no idea you're Hayastansi.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I wasn't sure what you are. We look the same, we talk the same, we act the same. It's much different. You know what I mean?
I think we're just happy you're Armenian and we're like, okay, good.
We're like, dude, we're Armenian. We're all we've got. Stick together, and it's great, man. You know what I mean?
Dude, back in the day on the East Coast or wherever, like the church, both apostolic churches, but they wouldn't talk to each other because you went to the other church. You know, like it was down. And now it's like, okay, we're just happy they're Armenian. Thank God. You know, I think we're in a good place. So we
sure.
Well, we're a little spoiled in LA with all the amount of Armenians.
The diversity, you mean?
Well, not just the diversity, just the straight up amount of Armenians here in LA, because you go to any other state and people meet Armenians, they're like, oh my god, this is an Armenian, like, come to my house.
There could have been
stranger.
like 4 huge Armenian events and festivals today that you had no idea about, and they were probably all full. You know what I mean? You don't get that. Like everywhere else, like, I don't know. I was in Scottsdale. Everybody knew there was like an Armenian thing going on that day.
They're all there, which is kind of cute. Like, I like that. I'm from Orange County. It would be like that in Orange County. I make it sound like it's on the other side of the country, but sometimes it feels like it. But we are pretty like lucky to live here, where there's always new Armenians to meet. I talk to my friends in Australia all the time, and like they're at a point where like we've met everybody, you know. But like in LA, we'll always meet new people, and that's, I mean, we're lucky about that. And I really think you're in the right place for your business, like it for your industry, because all those Armenians, where do they live? They lived in Hollywood. Like, they're going to be producing and creating, directing all these films. There's going to be a number of other Armenians in this entertainment industry, and like it's I don't know. We're going to be able to like really spread our voice just from being in LA, you know, and our numbers.
Is there any because you know, you have this background in video editing and just editing and graphic design. Has there been any idea of starting some sort of Armenian outlet, something with like, for example, All Things Comedy on YouTube is just a group of random comedians from LA, more or less. Is there anything that you wanted to start like that?
Your own channel or something?
I have all kinds of things in mind, man. I just finally became Antic Productions, just became an official corporation, and like I have a lot of things I want to do. You know what I mean? So I couldn't tell you an exact project right now, but I mean, my brain's always thinking of new things, new ideas. Like I want to write a movie. I thought we could use a really good rom-com that could do internationally well.
I'm not gonna lie, Armenian movies, at least comedy movies, and I've actually gone to the movie theater in Hayastan to watch some of these. They're rough. It's a rough watch. I'll give you an example. There's one about a ski resort in Hayastan where this random guy comes in, pretends to be a tour guide, falls in love with a girl. Weird movie. Autumn MP3 is in like 10 comedy movies about him being like the president or something like that. So it's like there's a little bit of a lack of like true funny comedy. Well, at least I'll say it like this.
I know what you mean. It's kind of cheesy a little bit sometimes. I just
don't think they know.
You know what's crazy to me? And this is coming from a comedian. I swear the most popular people in Armenia are comedians. The most viewed movies are comedies. Like, but back in the days, it wasn't like that. You know what I mean? We had like the Frunzik, Makarchan.
Those are great, serious movies.
The serious movies, like we kind of lost. It's almost like we don't want to sit through something that might take us in a different direction emotionally. You know what I mean? So,
interesting.
Like, there isn't too many like real love movies where you leave like floating on clouds. Like, I want to be in love too. Like, you never get that feeling. It's mostly comedies. Maybe it's because comedies are just the most successful. Like, maybe it goes back to when we talk about the Armenian sense of humor. We need that. Like, we have a very strong sense of humor.
We want to see that.
We want to see that.
That's what I was thinking.
But we can write anything. We can create anything. Like, we have incredible actors. We have incredible writers. But maybe just the audience is not living up to, ticket sales, and suddenly they're like, next one, let's just do a comedy with such and such. It always works.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to dig into that, man. I during COVID, I just got this idea of like, we could really use a good rom-com. We could really use like an Armenian like Roman holiday or something like that. You know what I mean? Something a classic, something like La La Landish, where I don't know.
I mean, I think you have the network enough to where you can get enough volunteers and people pitching in and helping like to make this happen too. You don't need a big production company to do this. You
don't. And I'd like to like eventually shoot a short film, give it a whirl. I have the mind of a filmmaker, and like I came out of high school wanting to be like George Lucas. And so.
So, is there what's your favorite? Like, out of all the videos and from Vine, Instagram, YouTube,
his sketches or his
your specific stuff. Is there one that that's either, well, let's say either the most popular or the one that in your soul you're like, man, this is my best work or something like that?
Yeah, I'm curious.
Man, it's so weird because I hate watching my own videos. Only the day you post it, you're like, oh yeah, this was pretty good. I did pretty good, huh? But no, I think it's because the reaction's kind of like, yes, people love it. The instant reaction is very fulfilling. But I think the RB video was very like along the lines of what kind of humor I like to do, kind of like really think it through. And
it was excellent.
Give it, dig deeper for comedy. You know what I mean? In the beginning when you do these type of videos, like I've been doing this for 9 years now, making videos online, bro. So. In the first 2 years, it's very just like the obvious jokes that you thought of since you were a kid. The things me and my sister used to laugh at. bro, but like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years later, you got to really dig deep, bro. You got to really dig deep for comedy, especially if you want to maintain originality. So I think that's why with the Arby, it's like I found a format for a comedy. You know what I mean? And that thing was in my notepad for like 2-3 months until I figured out exactly what I would say and how I would use these letters to actually form something that would make sense in any kind of context.
Have the laptop with the letters and everything.
Yeah.
That's like that's probably one of my favorites too. And I don't know if I want to have you do it right now, but do you have it all memorized right now to do it from beginning to end? If you had to do it again, would it be tough?
No, it's not tough.
It's like a rapper. Give me 16 bars.
Yeah.
Right?
No, but it's like a tongue twister, kind of like a sketch or whatever you want to thing.
People have like license plates of it. It says RV, there's SCPT RV. There's
So was that the point where you saw like, man, this seems like a true and honest future, right? When that started,
was that a Vine video or was that a?
It was Instagram.
It was Instagram Reels, right?
No, Reels wasn't
It
born
was a
yet.
Reels thing.
I'm gonna drop it as a Reel soon because Reel kind of like gives it to more people, bro. Bro, and they're Instagram's finally paying content creators. It's pretty awesome.
Really?
Yeah, Reels are making real money.
Because I know TikTok, and I don't know if you guys know this, like TikTok has one budget, like a certain budget to pay creators. So even if somebody gets big, it's divided between all of the creators. I don't know how Instagram has it.
Dude, I don't know what TikTok's budget is.
Have you gotten anything?
But it's horrible.
It's
TikTok, you're only going to make money on TikTok if you have a very viral video. You know what I mean? Like you're more likely to get a viral video on TikTok for recording a fight you saw while you were at a red light. You know what you get what I'm saying? But Instagram is being very generous, man, and it kind of pumps you up to get more creative.
No, it's smart. It's smart on their end, especially if they're trying to compete. That's good to know, though. It makes sense. I mean, that's where a lot, even when Instagram or when it was changing, like I realized that when I was getting. Do your moms also send you guys like reels that they see on Instagram and they DM it to you? I get about like 10 a day. And I know my mom's in the bathroom because I'm like, she's just sending it to me.
It's usually something you've seen a month ago, though. Right?
Yeah, it's always a few days late or whatever. And I don't know, I like it. This is great. Or there's also the money advice ones or like the smart things. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yeah, mama, very nice, but I already know.
You know, it's the genius TikTok algorithm, man. Like it's opened all new doors. You know, before your followers got you views, now your views gets you followers. You know,
it is true, and like it is kind of nice seeing like we do have a few friends who also have like, let's say, big TikTok accounts. I don't know, big like 10, 20, 30K, and they talk about Armenian issues, and like somehow it can grow on its own. And I remember thinking a while ago, I was like, it's a strategic avenue for like reaching out and like trying to spread the message, but sometimes I feel like you can't force it. It's some people like will just make a good video and it'll just blow up.
And look, you never know what's gonna make it blow up. Like there's the video I did with where the dolma was on the tree. I don't know if you guys saw it.
Where you're like,
when I put like Matsun on it. Okay, so that video, I think it went nuts on TikTok, bro. But ask me why it went nuts. Because there's a bunch of Turks saying that's not Armenian. And
there's a bunch of comments, right?
Every comment, 10,000 more views. Every comment, 20,000 more views.
Well, that was what else was it? What else did they do? Or they were even with the Moon Knight show that came out with they mentioning the genocide in the first episode. It's a Marvel movie, but the whole controversy that they like made out of like them commenting and trying to rate it badly brought attention to the Armenian genocide. So it is pretty fun. I actually I have a little nerdy map page that I have, and like I'll let the Turks comment like this is fake, whatever, because the algorithm does help. That's so funny. They're helping us.
They're helping you promote your cause, your comedy, and everything. It's great.
Keep it up.
I can't believe it. Yeah, thanks.
But no one's listening, and honestly, it makes all the third parties, all the Odars, let's say, like they'll either research it or they'll like they expect them, they know they're coming,
and then like the views like go like with waves to different parts. Like Karsam Chinastana like now I'm going to China, I think. Yeah,
the Uyghurs are coming after you.
No, I'll go to that show.
Antic in China, everybody.
Yeah, right. Hell yeah.
We've been doing okay.
Yes, Patrastam China is showing up.
Dude,
So we can even call it one of the last few questions is on a community level. I know you did we'll help do the Armenian Heritage Night, and is there anything else like community based? Are you always thinking about doing stuff locally and community wise?
Weren't you just in Arizona, right?
I was just in Arizona. Yeah. I mean, outside of comedy, you mean?
Yeah, outside of comedy. I mean, it could incorporate your comedy, but it's almost like how you're saying, organizing.
Yeah, I love organizing, man. I've had ideas for like different kinds of festivals we could do, like link them to charity, give a place for Armenians to enjoy a good time with their family, bring kids so they could tanal, because look, not all Armenians families are involved with like agums and things like that. So like, I think it's important those who aren't and just don't have one near them or just never knew they can go.
Yeah.
To have like I've always thought it would be really cool to have like a Varte Bar festival.
Yeah.
Like or Jerotsian on them, you know what I mean? Like what if we had something really cool like that in LA?
Why haven't we done that yet?
So I'm gonna throw this in there. Montebello actually does do that. The only thing is they do it at the church and it's a small scale. I'm talking. You're talking like big.
No, man. My idea I have is huge, bro.
Yeah.
It's huge, and you know, I know a lot of people would be interested in
it
helping.
Because of the California drought stuff.
That's one issue.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
That's
the issue. Okay, you got me. That's
go
why
waste
we
the
haven't
water.
done it yet. No, but things like that, man. And then like I like to shed light on things that Armenians kind of ignore, like mental health, bro. You know what I mean? I feel like Armenians, like and like, you know, being Armenian has always been difficult. In the last couple of years, it's gotten even more difficult. You know, like we're fighting to keep our identity alive, and like I feel like Armenians, Armenian sanity, bro. And like I know a lot of people going through certain struggles. I've gone through certain struggles, and it's like over the years, I feel like it's in our DNA to like be really good at hiding it and not telling anyone about it. You know what I mean? So I think it would be fitting for a comedian, and I've been mentioning it at my shows lately. Like, thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for supporting comedy because. Mental health is important, and comedy plays a very good role, positive role in of the fight against bad mental health.
No, that's amazing. That makes
sense.
So
it's something I've definitely wanted to dive into, and like kind of, I feel like it's not what you say, it's how you say it, and like I said, Armenians look at mental health like this, bro. Like the word depression doesn't have like the weight it does in like English as it does in Armenia. Like.
We're all depressed. No, yeah, it's like we all just got so used to being depressed for so long. Like this is normal. Stop complaining, kind of thing. But it's not good. It's not okay. You know.
We're. I feel like over the years, it's not easy being a culture that's had your back up against the wall so much throughout history. You know what I mean? But that makes you tough. It makes you very strong. But then now our generation is feeling things like that for the first time ourselves. And then, with social media and then confusion of identity confusion, like I'm proud to be Armenian, but I'm disappointed in how some things were done. And I feel like there's the after effects of even the war, like the side effects still exist. You know what I mean? It's got us messed up. War gets you messed up. Here, it affects everybody in every way, shape, and form.
And I'd say this is the first time we all like watched every bomb drop. Like it's changed. Like during the first Artsakh war in the 90s, like you're reading an article, right? Or you're watching a film after the war having happened. Even though we're not there physically, but we're watching it collectively. Internationally, and that I think it's unprecedented. It's something new.
And I think we felt something. There was something about feeling that abandonment from like the rest of the world. We kind of like it made me feel a certain way, man. You know what I mean? It really stuck with me. So like I feel like Armenians need to talk about this stuff more, and I don't know what I could do, but I know I want to do something to kind of shed light on it.
Well, I think through the humor you can at least open up the emotions like valve, like we're all closed off, but like opening it up through this way, can then release the other, sides of what we're feeling in that moment.
So I'm already doing that like for a temporary moment, like a 1 hour show or like a 15-second video. I'm already doing that, and I'm blessed to be able to play that kind of role in the world, but something more needs to be done.
Yeah, because I think for LA Armenians especially, or just any type of diasporan really, there's a little bit of a culture shock where your family is fully Armenian, everything they do is Armenian, eat, talk, everything, and then the second you step outside the door, it's all American. And it's like, as a first generation especially, that conflict it's very confusing.
I felt that myself growing up here, you know what I mean? Where like I've talked about this in an old show, where like in the house it's Armenia, you know what I mean? But like you leave the house, now you're suddenly in America. I get a new visa every time I get out of the house. So there's been that confusion. We had to differentiate between like what they do know that goes on here and what they don't know. You know what I mean? It's like I know by the time I'm 15 years old, I know more what goes on outside the house than they do. I already know that. So now, what do I listen? From which of their lessons do I pay close attention to, and what do I say? You have no idea what you're talking about. You know what I mean? So
And then they somehow seem to always be very wise and actually know something that you didn't expect them to. But I would say you guys living in more, like, you could still go out and have mostly Armenian friends. You know, even at a public school, there's, you know, the Armenian kids. A lot of Armenians in, like, the rest of the world, the rest of the United States don't have that, you know. It's very much our only Armenian part of their lives is what's in their house, you know. It's different.
It's different, and that time was different, man. Back when I was going to high school, there was so much like racial conflicts in the school, and like that doesn't happen too much these days in these public schools, man. Like they're actually doing pretty good. They're actually learning stuff. They're actually learning things, bro. For us, it was like the lunchtime was like the WWF, bro.
What's crazy is like hearing that stuff about how other cities kind of the relationship they had with other Osged. When I'm thinking about like Montebello in particular, not to throw us in there again, I did mean it. The relationship we have is almost like the Armenians were so grounded and over hard, like just always having that type of don't mess with us type of mentality, which started in the 90s when all the Hayastansis and everybody came in. They had to almost like protect themselves at that time because it was so tense between other Osgeds.
That's what it felt like. That's what it felt like in high school. You know what I mean? Because like there's 5% of the school is probably Armenian. You know, but we're getting like pushed around and picked on by. And now as an Armenian, like you want to stand up and you really feel like you're holding your culture on your shoulders in that little high school. You know? And like world, it's a pride issue. It's the world for you. You know what I mean? So like in my high school, there was Hayastansi, Berusi, Parska, name it, bro, everywhere, everything you could imagine. My Berusi friends speak Hayastansi, like we were one unit, and it felt like
that's cool.
It's exactly how it went down, man. Like my friend Marty, like you will never know he's Beirut bro. He can makur karasets Hayastansi lezun hetet khosa because we were all together, so we had no choice but to be together. Like,
and it was like making fun of each other.
We didn't want to go fight people.
But you at least had each other's backs.
We had each other's backs, you know, like we made our own little community there, and like we felt like we had to stand up and be prideful about being Armenian, and that's crazy. There was so much going on, especially for our generation. And I'm not even a first generation. My kid will be a first generation. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, technically. You guys, my cousin, like half America High, half Surya High, but grew up in Glendale, La Crescenta High. He completely became not brainwashed. What is it like? Molded into Hayastansi. He's 100% buzz cut, black clothes, BMW, speaks Eastern Armenian. I'm like, how did this even happen? It's the funniest thing. He completely got adopted in.
Yeah, for sure. We jumped him in.
Yeah, you got him in. So you're with us, or No, but he's in it, and it was just I don't know. I think Glendale might be a little different, huh? It's more overwhelming with one group. Used to be a lot more bars guys. Anyways.
Yeah.
I don't forget to mention.
So what is it now for bars guys? It's like La Cañada, right? I think
they're moving that way.
Yeah. There's a lot there. I was being told.
Because it was Glendale, and then they went up into La Crescenta.
La Crescenta Operas.
That's where they all are. No, because our AYF chapter. I don't know if we're gonna keep this in. Our AYF chapter there is all bars guys in La Crescenta.
And then didn't La Crescenta have like the Armenian flag issue? Remember the Armenian where someone left like a hate crime note on their door, like put your flag away, put the American flag back up, like. And I think there was like after that. There's been like Armenian festivals on that street.
Yes. No, yes, I remember that. And then I don't know. That was like not that there was anything good that happened from the war, but I did like seeing our community all kind of get out of their seats and actually get out there and do things. It felt like I don't know, in AYF we were always kind of going to these protests, and it felt like we were in a vacuum. I don't know, when I was a kid I was like, the pressure's on my shoulders, but whenever it kind of feels like everyone's on the same page now in terms of like we know there's urgency, we need to know we need to do this and that. There's obviously a lot of issues, but
you felt the urgency in the air, man. You know what I mean?
It was different. I'd never felt that before.
It was definitely refreshing to see like Armenians showed up, you know, like. Well,
we do care.
Like what, 10 million Armenians felt like 100 million?
It did.
That was awesome, bro.
I know.
And in Armenia, I was waking up every morning and seeing what happened in the rest of the world, and it's always been the opposite for me. You know what I mean? It was wake up
from here and
the
seeing
protest
there.
here and see what happened there. Yeah,
that is true.
So it was cool, man. I feel like we just need to figure out how to keep that going. And you know, ever since then, there's so many little organizations, little teams, little fundraisers, charities. There's a lot of new things happening, and I think that's a big positive.
It definitely it died down a little bit, but it's definitely more than what it was before everything happened. And I do have hope. Like, you have to have hope. You got to be somewhat optimistic. It seems always bad, but like, there's no point if you can't assume that it's gonna be better
find
one
like
day.
the new balance, So there's so many new like little places, things I've never heard of, little charities, little Instagram groups selling products.
Social
all
media
kinds
has
of
helped
stuff.
that out. Well, one of my hopes is like an old three of you too, Susanna. I mean, your parents were from Armenia. They came. You were born in Armenia. So was Susanna. And like your kids or you guys, like you're a lot more connected, let's say, with the Republic of Armenia than like these Western Armenians that have been away for 100 years. Like they help. They'll send money. They do already what we do. Let's say. But I really think that when you guys are 40, 50, you have your kids, like that generation is gonna have some crazy like dual connection between the two worlds, and that's gonna really take us to the next level. You guys got this. I'm feeling it. But I think Antic, through your work and your through the media and through the humor and everything that you're doing, it has a bigger role than I think some of us even understand, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this like next generation of comedians being like Antic was our vibe or whatever,
It's gonna be cool, man.
Man,
it would be an honor,
and having some competition will be nice, huh?
For sure.
You got competition, but
there has to be competition.
It'll make us all better off. But I guess we wanted to ask before we go, what are some current things that people should be watching that you're doing? Antic Productions has a YouTube channel, right?
The Antic Labs would be
Antic
my
Lab,
YouTube channel. I'm most active. If there's something on YouTube that you need to watch, you'll hear me talk about it on my Instagram, which is @its_Antic. Instagram is the main place to find out anything, see anything.
Happening.
Yeah, everything happens there. Everything is linked out from there. I got a show coming up. It should be just June 9th in Burbank at the Colony Theater. I'm in the process of finalizing the contract, but it's going to be the second show we're doing. First one sold out. It was incredible.
Nice.
Coming back for another one by popular demand. So
cool.
If you haven't seen my stand-up, come check it out, guys. It's a fun experience. It's exciting being in a room full of Armenians, all kinds of Armenians, and it's a good time with the family.
I need those vibes, so I'm looking forward to being there, man. And thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, guys. This has been cool. Good conversation.
No, I loved it.
We went all over the place, man.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
We got
I don't remember a single thing we talked about.
But,
no, I'm just kidding. It was all good.
Dude, I got to learn all these things about you, so it's great. Like, I barely knew your name was Arman up until like recently. So
nice.
I thought Antic. I'm kidding. Antic wasn't your real name.
Andranik.
Andranik Margarian.
Andranik Margarian. Beirutaya Andranik. Like they got all wrong. The name wrong. Everything.
My mom thought it was like antique, like saying like something's old, like antique or something.
Antique
no.
Like they say antique var.
I'm like, you don't get it.
I'm not that old yet. Like, you don't get it, Mom. That's funny. Cool, guys.
All right, man. This has been the High Took Talk show, brought to you by no one.
We'll do that again.
We'll do that later.
Yeah, we do that later.
That's a retake.
Yeah.
You were listening to High Took Talks, the official podcast of the AYF West. I'm Haig Minasyan.
And I'm Hado Bird.
And we're just a couple of Armenians
talking in the world.
A couple of Armenians talking in the world.